Hello fellow lovers of the liminal and the weird, and welcome to another video by Liminal Spaces. Today I'm going to be basically doing a book haul from the last few weeks. I got stuff in Colorado when I went down to Colorado, and I've gotten stuff from all around here when I got back. Plus people have sent me stuff, so I've got some things to go over. First, I got a package in the mail from Brian at Bad Taste Books, who is also one of the contributors to the Secret Society Red. He sent me 5 books, but I'm only going to go over 2 of them here because I did do a book haul for the Secret Society Red. That's over at Virgil's channel. If you haven't already watched it, it is me as my evil alter ego, the Crypt Wizard, going over the horror books that I've found recently. So if you haven't seen that, go check it out. I'll put the video in the description below. But for now, I got a ton of awesome fantasy and science fiction books that I am going to be going over here. And the 2 books that I got from Brian that fit into that category... Oh no, I left the horror books up here. If you can't tell, I record these in large spurts. I do a lot of videos in a go. My camera lasts for about 2 hours, so I turn it on once or twice a week and talk for 2 hours straight. Make a lot of little videos. But Brian sent me a couple of really interesting science fiction books, 2 of them, and one is Rebirth by John Wyndham, and he warned me this is not in the best condition. And I had never heard of Rebirth by John Wyndham, which is interesting because when I got it, I looked it up, and it turns out this is the American title of the Chrysalids, I think it's called. Yeah, they're not going to tell us the original title, but it's something, the Chrysalids or something, which is funny because Brian sent me this and then later commented on somebody's video that he was reading the Chrysalids right now. So he had the Chrysalids in this one. I wonder if he bought a new one looking for the Chrysalids. The other thing he sent me, which is absolutely rare and really incredible that he would send this to me, is Hard to Be a God by the Strugatsky brothers. And this is a DAW, and I think that's a Kelly Freias cover. Let's find out. Freeze? Yeah, Kelly Freeze. Maybe it's Freeze. I think it's Freeze. I think Richard from Vintage SF has told me it's Freeze many, many, many times, and I'm sure he is right. Yeah, this is a really hard to find DAW, and I was very happy to get it. Brian, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Again, to see the other 3 books Brian sent me, go watch the Secret Society Red video on Virgil's channel, where my alter ego, my evil alter ego, talks about the horror books that I've found recently. So while I was in Fort Collins, I drove down to Loveland to visit Bookhaven, and this was an incredible bookstore. It seems to be an old house converted to a bookstore, and it was just lovely walking around this old house, looking through shelf after shelf of old books. Really, really enjoyable. And funnily enough, the first thing I found to buy from that store was Hard to Be a God by the Strugatsky brothers, and I bought this one because it is a modern translation, or a more recent translation of the work. And while I think this is a better, cooler copy, a much cooler cover, I really appreciate more modern translations. I'm sure that this is closer to the book. I have no idea. That could be a great translation. I don't know. But I have a tendency to buy newer translations when I find them, so in that case I did. I found another hardback by L.P. Davies called Twilight Journey. This is somebody, for a long time, I had a book of his called The Artificial Man, and I kept that in horror, and it looked really interesting to me, but I never got around to reading it. And then the Outlaw Bookseller talked a lot about L.P. Davies, and the more that he said about it, the more I felt like I would really like it. So this is my third. What's the other one that I have here? The other one is Psychogeist. And all of these that I have are book club editions, including this one. And yeah, I've heard really good stuff about Davies. I'm going to move him up my TBR. I'll be reading him pretty soon, I think, because he just sounds really awesome. Next up is Shadow on the Hearth by Judith Merrill. Hearth? Shadow on the Hearth. think Hearth is how you pronounce that. A tense prophetic novel of one woman's world after the bomb falls. I've been wanting to read some Judith Merril. I really like post-apocalyptic fiction, so this sounds super cool. Plus, it is an actual first edition. It was $3 when it first came out. Although I don't know, is Judith Merril an American writer or a British writer? I'm going to assume this is a first edition. Well, we'll say it's definitely a first American edition. Oh, and the cover jacket is by Edward Casper. Cool jacket there. Good job, Edward Casper. But the most amazing thing I found while I was there was Star of the Unborn by Franz Werfel. This time an actual first edition of that book. Unfortunately, it's missing its dust jacket, but he only had $10 on this, which is absolutely incredible. It goes for about $90 to $100 without a dust jacket on eBay, so I was happy to find it for that price. But it's created a little bit of a... Oh, this came out in 1946. This created a little bit of a conundrum for me because I have a really incredible copy of the paperback of this that came out in the 70s. And this is, I think, an unread copy, or it was read very lightly. Maybe it was read very lightly, but there's not a crease on the spine. The worst thing this has is somebody painted a little pink line right there. I don't know why. That's the worst thing this has. And this book goes for about the same price as this book, which is super weird. You'd think this one would be worth a lot more. I think the reason these prices were driven up so high is because Bookpilled really loved this book. And I think that created a rush to find these. So I don't want to keep both of these. I got to figure out which one of these to get rid of to sell. And like, my first thought is you got to go with the first edition, even though it doesn't have a dust jacket. But then my other thought is, look at this awesome paperback. And I'm not going to keep two, but I just got to figure out which one I'm going to sell. So I was very glad to find this, even though it gave me one heck of a conundrum about what I should keep and what I shouldn't keep. But yeah, there you go. That is a haul from Brian at Bad Taste Books, and then these were all from that wonderful store in Colorado. Next, I got a package from Jake at Pulp Mortm, which is super exciting. And Jake, and Virgil once did this for me as well, but Jake sent me stickers, which I think is really, really cool, and it makes me realize that I need to work on some kind of product for my channel. So, but man, Pulp Mortem's got it together. He sent me a sticker of "Crush your enemies, see them driven before you, hear the lamentations of their women," which is, of course, from the movie Conan. A very, very good part in that movie. Very silly. He also sent me a sticker of Tim from Secret Fire Books, which is awesome. So, a lot of people probably missed it, but if you watch the end of Pulp Mortem's last video...
As always, thanks for watching. I'll see you all next time with something even pulpier. The Ant-Man.
Again, thank you very much, Nick from...
Meow. Meow.
My cat keep walking around me making the weirdest noises. Jake used a part of a clip from one of my videos where I'm listening to my cat make weird noises, and he put Tim's face on my cat, and it was hilarious. And I think Jake's biggest fan in all of that was my daughter, who absolutely loved this and loved it. And the moment she saw this sticker, she said, "You have to stick that on Bartleby's face." Bartleby is my cat. I'm not going to stick this on Bartleby's face, but if I did hold it Oh, Bart will be sleeping right now. I'm not going to wake him up. But if I did hold it over him, it would look pretty much exactly like the cat that Jake created in that video. Go watch Jake's video. I think it was on Secret People or something like that. Go check it out. He also sent me this kick-ass Pulp Mortm sticker, which is what made me think, man, I need to make some stuff for my channel. Look at how cool that is. Great, great sticker. Really, really cool image that Jake has for his channel. Astronaut reading a book. It's brilliant. Well done. So anyway, he sent me those very cool stickers, and then he sent me 6 DAW books that I needed because I was finally organized enough to do my list, and now I've updated my list, so I got to resend it out. He sent me some Fred Saberhagen. This is DAW number 41, Challenging Earth. Here's DAW number 49, The Sons of Scorpio. This is by Alan Burt Ackers, which I believe is a pseudonym. It's somebody famous writing under the name Ackers, and I can't remember who. But there's like 5 or 6 of these, and I think because Jake sent me 2, I now have this full collection. They were released in the first 100, so this is number 49. Really needed that one. Next, I have Mayene, a dumb arrest space novel by E.C. Tubb. Probably a Kelly Freas cover. I'm not going to take these out of the bags right now to find out. But yeah, this one's in really insanely good condition with that yellow spine really popping. Because sometimes those spines get so faded that they basically turn white. Because DAW didn't do white spines. All the early ones were yellow spines. They just look white. In fact, all these that he sent me are in really insanely good condition. Here is A Talent for the Invisible by Ron Goulart, or Goulart, or however you say his name. This is DAW number 37. Wake up, the Sandman is coming. A Talent for the Invisible. Looks really good. Really fun. James Gunn, which isn't, I don't think is the actual. I think there's a lot of people named James Gunn. Breaking Point, including the brilliant novelette The Listeners. That looks really fun. Number 73 there. DAW number 73. And then another of these Scorpio books. This is Prince of Scorpio by Alan Burt Ackers. Again, I think that is a pseudonym for a very famous person, and I don't remember who, but this is book 97, and I think it completes the Scorpio series for me. So those are absolutely wonderful, Jake. Thank you so much for sending them. I really appreciate it. I am recording this on Tuesday the 3rd, and so later tonight I'll be talking to Jake as a guest on Literally Liminal, so I will link it when I actually upload this video, which will be after that's happened, but I'll link the video of that live down below because it's going to be a good time. Jake is so much fun. All right, moving right along. This is all stuff that I've found locally at thrift stores, Savers, Goodwills, and stuff like that. Oh, and more importantly, Friends of the Library. That's where I get a lot of my stuff. So we'll start with Roger Zelazny's 9 Princes in Amber. This is a hard book to find, and their prices on eBay are kind of insane for this one, but it's one that will eventually come up. I'm reading all of Zelazny in order, so this will be coming up eventually. A lot of people have a lot of good to say about that specific book. And then I found some really interesting anthologies here. These are Nebula Awards stories 1965, and I think that these are what they started putting out after the Science Fiction Hall of Fame, because the Science Fiction Hall of Fame took the years 1930 something, I think, to right when the Nebula was created, which was 1965 or 64, and they ranked all those stories. That's what the American Science Fiction or the Science Fiction Hall of Fame was about, was ranking all those stories that couldn't get Nebulas because the Nebula Award wasn't created until 64. So I think they started publishing these year by year for a while. And this is the 1965, so this is the first one. And it has an incredible table of contents. So they put all the winners in here and then the runners-up. So they have The Doors of His Face, The Lamps of His Mouth by Zelazny. They have Balanced Ecology by James H. Schmidt. Repent, Harlequin, Said the TikTok Man by Harlan Ellison. And He Who Shapes by Roger Zelazny. I believe Zelazny won short story, and so did Repent, Harlequin, Said the TikTok Man. Those two, I think, were the short story winners. Then we have the novelette winners, which was He Who Shapes by Roger Zelazny and Be Calmed in Hell. No, The Saliva Tree by Brian W. Aldiss. And then these other ones are runners up. And the runners up are Balanced Ecology by James H. Schmidt, Computers Don't Argue by Gordon R. Dixon, and Be Calmed in Hell by Larry Niven, and The Drowned Giant by J.G. Ballard. The Drowned Giant is the only Ballard I had read before I started this channel, and it's absolutely incredible. It's the story of this beach community, and this giant's body washes up onto the shore and starts decaying, and it's all of them figuring out what to do with the corpse of a giant. It's really a wild story. I also got the second one in that series. So this will be the winners for 1966, I believe. So it'll have, Last Castle in here by Jack Vance. Bob Shaw, Light of Other Days is in here. R.A. Lafferty is in here. Philip K. Dick. Really interesting. I like this idea, these books that are just all the winners of awards for that year. I also found a book club copy of Nova. So this is the first book club by Samuel R. Delany. I have not hit a point where Delany has disgusted me so much that it's pulled me off of his reading. I've read 2 novels by him, Babel 17 and Empire Star, and those two were incredible, and I found I don't think there was really much sexual content in either of them, but apparently he can get real grody, so I haven't discovered that yet, but I'm sure that I will eventually, maybe in Nova. I don't know, but that was just such a nice copy, I had to grab it. I also grabbed A Spectre is Haunting Texas by Fritz Liber, and I believe you'll be seeing a lot of this coming up this summer. I can't really give more information than that, because I don't know if I'm allowed to talk about it yet, but there you go. A Spectre is Haunting Texas by Fritz Liber. I also found Drift Glass by Samuel R. Delany. Cool picture there. This is a book club edition as well. Really cool looking covers. I got Neanderthal Planet by Brian Aldiss. I grab Brian Aldiss whenever I see him, just because I think he's a little bit harder to find here in the States. I think, and he's of course a very important new wave English writer, so I know there's really good stuff in there. I haven't found my Aldous novel, the one that I will love. I think he wrote Barefoot in the Head, which I feel like might really be up my alley, so I'm constantly on the lookout for that one. And then I got a really cool first book club edition of Downward to Earth by Robert Silverberg. I've heard a lot of good things about this. I've never read this. Never really read anything by Silverberg except for a short story he wrote for Dangerous Visions, which I wasn't a huge fan of. But a lot of people speak very highly of Robert Silverberg's work, so I got to check out something. I am going to skip the one that Brian from Bad Taste Books recently talked about on his channel. That one sounds awful. The next stack I got from a bookstore called Under Charlie's Covers that's in Bernalillo, New Mexico. I love going to that bookstore. It's got the old school bookstore vibe. They have shelves well organized into genres, but then they have stacks in front of those shelves of new arrivals that they constantly cycle through into the shelves as more stuff sells. Really incredible bookstore. And there I found Ted Thomas and Kate Wilhelm, Year of the Cloud. And this looks like a post-apocalyptic novel. It's a book club edition. Really good condition. I loved Kate Wilhelm's Abyss. And I know that Sweet sang the late sing the sweet birds. I don't remember. Anyway, she's done a post-apocalyptic novel that's her most famous novel. So it's interesting to me that she also did a post-apocalyptic novel with somebody else. So I really want to try that one out. I also found Earthworks by Brian Aldiss. Like I said, I grab whatever Aldiss I can, hoping to find what Aldiss is going to be the one that I love. This is a book club edition. It looks like a really short novel. It looks cool. Great cover. Wild cover. And one that I've started grabbing whenever I can find, and I hope that I enjoy her, and I'm sure that I will, is Tanith Lee. I'm reading Knight's Master right now, and so far the prose is absolutely incredible. So I found something called The Silver Metal Lover. Sounds like a robot lover, from what I can tell. Mother, I'm in love with a robot. No, she isn't going to like that. Mother, I'm in love. Are you, darling? Oh, yes, mother, yes, I am. His hair is auburn, and his eyes are very large like amber, and his skin is silver. Silence. Mother, I'm in love. With whom, dear? His name is Silver. How metallic. Yes, it stands for Silver Ionized Locomotive Very Simulated Electronic Robot. Silence. Mother? Ooh, sounds good. We often get the falling in love with robot story from the position of the robot being a female. I'm looking forward to reading one where the robot is a male. Really interesting. Then I found The Secret Book of Paradise 1 and 2. So these are omnibuses of the series. And I might have some of these in my DAW collection. And then here's The Secret Book of Paradise 3 and 4. So yeah, Tanith Lee to check out. And I'm going to stop here. I also got kind of a haul of old men's magazine stuff that I want to go over. And I already have stuff set aside for Nick. He was who I was really thinking of when all this stuff showed up at my local friends of the library. But I'm going to have to make that a different video so that this doesn't go on too long. So, yeah, these are my recent finds. Have you read any of these? If you have, let me know what you think of them in the comments. And I will speak to you soon.